So we just got back from a pretty epic trip on the AMIGO with Jeff Jessup on a 1.5 day trip, and here's some highlights. So we started off the morning out at Tanner Bank, fishing for school-sized bluefin and a couple yellowtail that were around. When we got there was a lot of boats, probably like 12 sport boats. So we actually got anchored up on the west side and worked out pretty good for us on our position. We got a fair amount of small bluefin, about 20-pound size, a couple yellows. I got a nice like 25-pound yellow there. And we did that for the beginning of the morning. And we decided that we were going to go down to Cortez, about 25-mile ride roughly, and try and catch some more of the better grade yellowtail that had been there over the last couple weeks. So we decided to start heading down that way. I threw out a troller. I'm the type of guy, like when you're on a boat and you pay a lot of money to go sport fishing, you know, I try and be fishing 100% of the time, you know, whether it's a troller in the water or you got the binos up, you're trying to glass fish. Like when I'm on the water, I want to give it 110% effort and try and make the most of my time on the water. So cruising along, coming out the bank, and I was talking to my buddy Paul, and he said, you know, hey man, I hear like the big ones are, you know, right off the south side of the bank here, off Tanner. You know, we got a chance if we really want to. He's like, well, I think I got a kite. Let's put up the kite. I said, why not? We're sitting here better than, you know, doing nothing. So we said to throw up the Boston big game kite, and 10 minutes later.
I want to kill it, but I'm gonna let this fucker pull on it too, dude. Because we were just talking about it too, dude. Yeah. Okay, don't get it straight. I'm sorry. You want some ready? Okay, so I want to kill it, Doc. We were just talking about it, homie. You see right next to my homie, dude.
So it only took about 10 minutes, and Paul and I were just messing around. We're like, you know, if we get bit, we're just gonna split this fish, because we're the only ones really interested in working the kite. Everyone else is just kind of grabbing beers and, you know, grabbing something to eat in the galley. And lo and behold, 10 minutes later, we're hooked up. Pretty rad. So we ended up splitting the fish back and forth a couple times. I won't bore you with the whole length of the video, but it took us about 12 minutes, and we whooped this thing up pretty good.
One more?
Get him, Paulie!
Mark, right here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nice!
Lock him up!
Yeah!
Yeah,
baby! You can't get it to the gate, the overhang.
All right, ready?
On three. 1, 2.
Oh, yeah!
I'm out.
Yeah! Fuck!
When you try for them, and then you don't.
Yeah, baby.
Come on, man. You whatever you guys want to do.
It's fine, dude.
Fuck it. Everybody can have whatever.
We got it. We got what we wanted. You got the fish. hard to hold up, bro.
Oh, the other side's hose.
Put your knee behind him.
Yeah.
Put a knee right behind him, Paulie.
And then grab, one of you grab each fin.
Grab the second.
Doesn't help when he's kicking still. Alright, look over you guys.
Fuck yeah!
So needless to say, people were pretty stoked on the boat after we got that one. So we continued to skip the Yummy down to Cortez. Didn't get another bite down there, and the wind kind of died out too, so it was time to bring down that kite. We fished for yellows for a little bit, and to be honest, they really didn't bite that well. So we decided to go back to where we were when we hooked that big one, and some other boats in the area had some luck also. And the bite turned out to be absolutely incredible. We ended up flying the kite on the balloon with lifeline fish, and then we were also running the backpack flyers. I talked about those before on a previous video in our forecast section. But basically, piece of foam over the back of a flying fish to help it float. So you can fly, drag those on the wind side of the boat while you fly the kite on the other side. So, long story short, I had already caught one with Paul, so I figured I'd just man the kite and operate the kite for the guys, so they can rig up a flying fish, and I'm good at working the kite, so whatever. So hooked on the first flying fish. I didn't even get the kite to where I wanted to stop it, and it already got bit. And then brought that fish in, hooked up another one, sent it back out, same thing, it got bit. Hooked up another one, sent it back out, and it got bit. And then we kind of ran out of baits real quick because we didn't have them all thawed, so we still had the floaters with the backpacks on. Both of those got bit. It was pretty incredible. So then in the middle of all this, we had a couple going all at the same time. Tom had a really nice one, and it was a close call.
Come on, guys. Come on. Take that. Watch the gap. You're on this tight. No.
So yeah, total heartbreaker, man. I mean, up until then, our fishing had been pretty solid. And even then, if you look closely and you watch in slow-mo, the fish actually rolls from being on its side to tilting its head up. And I think it just caught the line on the end of the boat. So heartbreak for sure. We still got a few though. So that was pretty sweet. After that, we sent out one more on the kite, and fish blew up on it and pushed it to the side of its mouth, so it didn't actually eat it. And the bite just seemed to kind of slow down for the last couple hours. And just like I told Paul before about flying the kite, and I said, you know, I sure like the sundowner. And, you know, I wasn't going to give up. That's not my style. So I rigged up another floater, and I sent it out there, and it was out there for a long time. I had more than half the spool out there. And I reeled it back in. I just didn't feel comfortable having that much line out. And I walked to the back of the boat to maybe grab a beer, hang out with the guys while I was sitting and waiting still. And I had about 3/4 of the line back on the reel. And just after I told Paul they like the sundown bite, like 10 seconds later, line starts peeling off. And lo and behold, it got bit. So locked it in gear, came tight, things are good, and it wasn't slowing down. So I bumped the drag up to about 3/4, and it's still peeling off. Didn't make a difference at all. And this is the drag was set. This is no joke. We'd already caught a fish on this reel already, so that wasn't the issue. I told Paul, I said, "Hey man, we might lose this one. I think I'm gonna get spooled here. It's not looking good." So you know, on some lever drag reels, you gotta kind of press the button in to go full sunset mode, so to speak. So I didn't want to give up my right hand having that much drag, and you know, reels rated for like 40 pounds of max drag. So if you ever held that much drag, it's really hard to hang on to. So I dropped to one knee, put the rod against the rail, and I let Paul push it from, just past 3/4 to full drag, and it popped right about before I got spooled. And there's a clean break on 100-pound leader. So just when you think you've seen it, they're still out there. But overall, killer trip. Had a great time. Those boys on the deck, man, they cut fish from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. nonstop. So when you hear people say, make sure you take care of your deckhands, that tip goes along with hard work. So appreciate it. Fun trip. And hopefully we'll get another one. Cheers.